Is an open relationship stable and healthy? Or can it be? I believe it is, and I believe it's one of the most healthiest formats of relationship, but I don't believe it's a matter of style as it is a matter of individual. Now, can the individual sustain an open relationship is a matter of whether you can rely on the individual. Because stability requires reliability. And what is the behavior that tells you that someone is reliable? That behavior is consistency. Can the person become consistent? And so the question is whether an open relationship can facilitate a healthy relationship between two people. Is it a good format of relationship? Can it be sustained by two individuals? It's a matter of whether the individual, can it be, let me put it in this way, can it be a house in which people can live? Does the house have four legs, has good foundations, and is not built on sand? To build something on sand is not wise because you have to build it somewhere where it's stable, can last a long time. It can be just washed off by unstable sands, or you can't build it in quicksand because obviously you don't have much good foundation. So is an open relationship a good house, has good foundations? Well, let me give you an example. The foundation of my relationship, which is an open style relationship, is unconditional love, number one. Now, unconditional love, I believe, love is one of those words which doesn't mean anything. Because for words to mean anything, you have to have two individuals that experience the same thing and define it in the same way, which that can't happen. Let me prove it to you. You can prove it to yourself. Ask 8 people today what their definition of love is, and I guarantee you that every single one of those people will give you a different definition of love. Do you understand? Freedom. Ask people what the definition of freedom is, what the definition of honor is. Because we evolved language, which are concepts, which is unique to human beings. And so my definition of love, which is the unconditional kind, is you're wanting for your beloved's happiness intrinsic to your own. Intrinsic to your own means just the same as the happiness you want for yourself. You want that for them. And so it negates jealousy and ownership. The idea, the concept ownership, which didn't exist for the majority of our evolution, it only began to exist when we discovered agriculture. When we discovered we could own lands and own animals, and farming and ranching came about. And so it negates jealousy and ownership. And so I want my beloved to be happy, to live the biggest life she can, whether or not it's with me. It has nothing to do with ownership, nothing to do with jealousy. And so that's the that's the foundation of an open relationship. It's the notion that you have a best friend, I call it the best friends model relationship, just the same as you have many different friends. Just because you have one friend doesn't diminish your relationship or your love for another friend. Just because you have a best friend doesn't mean you can't have any other friends. Do you understand? Just because you love one friend so much doesn't diminish your love for any other friend. And so I give this wonderful example is that if you were, for example, a mother who had one child and then you became pregnant, you came up to your child and say, hey, guess what? You're going to have a sister. And then your child says, oh no, mom, you're going to divide that love. You're not going to have the same love for me because you have to divide that for my sister. And then you laugh at this and then you say, no, that's not how it works. That's not how love works. See, how love works is the more love you have, the more love you can give. The bigger love grows. It's the same exact way with relationships, with the love you have for any individual. The more you love, the more your love grows and the more love you can give. Do you understand? So, is an open relationship a house for unconditional love? Well, absolutely. Now let me ask you a question. Is a closed relationship whether it's multiple relationships in a closed relationship or a close monogamous nuclear family relationship, is that a good house for unconditional love? Well, you can ask yourself that question. You can prove to yourself, no, it's not a house for unconditional love. It's a house for conditional love. Meaning, I will only be with you if you can provide me sexual exclusivity and security for the rest of my life. Do you understand? So, let me ask you this question. Is an open relationship reliable? Well, for it to be reliable, you have to ask yourself, can the individuals in it be reliable and consistent? Consistent, therefore reliable. So, in other words, is an open relationship a stable form of relationship? The answer is of course, because it's the only one that can facilitate an unconditional love relationship. So why are people in monogamous relationships? Why did you think that monogamy is the thing? We call it, in evolutionary psychology, the standard. We call it the standard because it's the thing that people presume already to be the thing that they must do. But here's the thing. Much of the things that you know without question. Do you understand? You know a lot of things that you know, you grew up knowing without any question. You never asked, why is it that you can only love one person? Why can't it be that you could love more than one person? You've never asked that because you've just been taught that the monogamy is a standard. The standard is you get married and you have kids. That's the standard. Until you've realized, you ask why it is that it is. It's tantamount to religion. So here's what you learned today. You learned that for something, if you were to ask for something to be stable, just like if you were to ask if an open relationship is stable, you have to ask, can the individuals in it be reliable and consistent? Because stability requires reliability. Reliability requires consistency. Well, if you were to believe in love, in unconditional love, which is your wanting for your beloved's happiness intrinsic to your own and negates jealousy and ownership, then a monogamous sexual exclusivity is not a stable relationship, which is why we have a 50% rate of divorce for first marriages and 70% rate of divorce for second marriages. Why? It's because they go into it not knowing what they're doing. If you want to know more about relationships, go to two places. Number one, Amazon, get the book Relationships 101 by Ron John, and then go to www.greatrelationshipsyou.com.